is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and we're doing a no run-through review for the newest Tiny Towns expansion, Villagers. Devin, you have not played the first expansion they did with Currency.
Oh.
So, Kat and I played that, and we thought that, of course, when you add money into anything, it always makes it a little bit more complex. And it turns out whenever you add people, it also makes it a little complex. So Tiny Towns Villagers, basically, if you don't know what it does, is it allows everyone to have 3 villagers, little wooden meeples of animals, which are adorable, on your board that you try to maneuver around to have them work in buildings, so then you can get special powers that anyone can use. Like, they're all open table, everyone has these 2, and they cost basically a certain number of workers to use them. Now, what do you guys think of Tiny Towns Villagers?
Oh man, it was different.
It certainly is different.
It was certainly different. It took me, because, simple game mechanics always just a little too much for me. It always right over my head. I mean,
right.
If it's, if it's not butterflies, even that overwhelms me.
Right.
But finally, after I got it figured out, I felt like they certainly added a little more forgiveness in your placement. I mean, being able to one of the abilities. Now, are these abilities? Do they have several
random.
cards?
They have several cards.
So it's not going to be the same too.
Yeah. So what you do is there's like 3 or 4 cards that will cost 1 worker, and so there's always going to be one ability out there that costs 1 worker. Then there's another set of cards that are 2 or more. It's always going to be either 2. It costs 2 or 3 workers. Gotcha. So it will be random in what you can do. There was one where if you I think it was... No, that was one of these cards. Never mind. You can keep going and I can...
But they certainly made it a lot easier to place. I mean, I was noticing quite a few more abilities for, free resources since we played. Now, all of these cards came from this expansion, including our uniques.
Yep.
And these up here.
Yep.
Now, I mentioned this before the video, but I really felt like they stepped up the complexity here on, building restrictions, and I felt like the villagers were kind of a way to compensate because it's higher difficulty to place, but the villagers kind of help make it a little more easier to place where you need to. Like with forage, you just get a fucking free resource, and then cooperate, you get 2 guys, and then you can just use your resources placed anywhere on the board. Yeah. So that helps immeasurably when you're down to the wire.
That's a good point, that whenever you, with the complexity of the new buildings, that the villagers actually are meant to compensate that instead of it being basically 2 things coming in that are brand new, that now it's just this is just way too complicated, So yeah, that's a good point.
So is this compatible with the currency?
Yeah.
Okay.
You could play with both of them. We have not done that yet. I wanted to isolate both of them.
Let's take this simple game and just make it...
That really is what they did. Tiny Towns by itself was just so gateway, so simple, with a little bit of depth, but both of their expansions that they've come in have made them, made it more deeper and more complex. I don't know how I would like it with money and villagers. It would be a little bit... it'd be oh god, okay, so now, because with 7 cards out, it's a lot to keep track of, and especially at the very beginning, you have to think, what direction do I want to go? Essentially, with this setup, my direction was, okay, I'm going to use shrines and apothecaries and public houses. That's all I'm building.
Yeah.
To go for that grant, even numbers and 4 more, and that was it. Kat, what do you think?
About
the expansion.
Just in general. I thought we were talking about the money for it as well.
No, we've already done our review for that.
Let's do it again. Just the expansion in general. I like what it brings in. It does have a higher level of complexity. Gives it some more meat. That way, for the friends who want to play a simple game but also don't want to play tic-tac-toe simple.
Yeah.
So I think that's good, and I like the new cards. Every one that I've gotten so far. I mean, I've only gotten 2, but I like them. I think they're pretty. They're easy to keep track of. Yeah. Yeah,
it very much seems like each of their expansions have given you ways to mitigate the randomness. Because one of the biggest complaints that we heard, because we've played this with 6 people twice now, and with 6 people, it's you're pretty much just like SOL, because it's like, oh, I know I get to pick what I want once, but 5 other people get to dictate what I want. What I
a bunch
try
of
to
people.
build.
I've only ever played with 3.
Yeah, 3 is a very solid number,
yeah.
but a friend of mine didn't like this game because of that. Because it's like, what's stopping? Because there's multiple buildings you can go for, so it's like, okay, you need glass, but it's not your turn. Kat needs dirt because she's building this. I need dirt because I'm building this. And someone else needs dirt because they're building. So you basically are like, I need glass, dirt, 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 dirt. And you're like, I have 5 dirt on my fucking board. What am I supposed to do? So it very much seems like the villagers are, hey, mitigate that. A lot of the buildings mitigate that. I mean, hell, even like, so one of the ones that cost 1 is called scrap. Is you just don't place what someone else calls.
Oh, nice.
So you're not getting to place something of your own, but it's like, really, another fucking brick? No, okay, I must put my person away and then not have to do that. So the ones that we also did was, let's see. Oh yeah, the renovate. It costs 3 people, but replace any building in your town with any other building type.
Oh, that'd be
So
amazing.
like for yours where you put the 2 cottages
Yeah.
together, if you spent 3 people, you could actually just take that off and replace it with something else that you wanted to go for.
Oh no, my folly tower's too tall. Replace.
Yeah, right. Replace the whole thing because it is considered one building type. So yeah, and there's not a whole lot of these. I would have liked to see a little bit more, like villagers, than just 3 for level 1s and then 4 for the 2 or higher. That would have been nice.
So does it instruct you to use only the new buildings with villagers?
No.
But you could use either.
Yeah, you can mix them all
old
together.
ones and the new ones.
We actually played the first game with villagers that we did with like the farm from the base game, because the farm is just it just feeds 4 cottages because it's very easy. Because I will say the feeding ones are kind of complex.
Yeah.
I mean,
because definitely your cottages are always like a solid source of points.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're just 3 points if they're fed.
exactly, and it's like, but so they made the ones to feed those a little bit more difficult because of just how much of a sure thing these can be. But yeah, I think that it was initially confusing because you have this lodge board that all it is just a glorified place to put your villager.
Yeah.
Like, I was in here and I was like, oh, does this have like special abilities? Nope. It just tells you what to do with your with your your resources as they get placed, but does nothing else.
Okay.
I enjoyed this expansion a lot. I think more cards to this game is always a nice thing. In terms of card quality, though, it's once again annoying because the cards aren't the same size as the base game. So
Really annoying.
It's gross. I mean, I could easily sleeve them, and then then it's all fixed. But the fact that and I emailed them when Currency came out, and they're like, yeah, it's a known issue, but it's not worth our money to replace all of them.
Yeah, maybe it's something like with a manufacturer or something that they
Something
can't help.
happened.
I don't know.
Yeah, but which is weird because AEG is usually really good about all their card sizes because they make card games. Smash Up, Mystic Vale, Edge of Darkness, all these are card games, and it'd be like every Smash Up expansion comes out, all the cards are all.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know why they just fucked it up on this one, but yeah, it's a nice small expansion that adds some depth to it. With a lot of mitigation, which, if you guys know me,
You love
Yes.
mitigation
Love.
of random effects.
I
Yes.
certainly do.
Especially in a game where the more people you play, the crazier.
Yeah, I can't imagine that
Yeah.
with 5. Then it's like you have to work on like 3 buildings at once. Because
Pretty
here I
much,
can kind of
yeah.
maintain, like, I can focus on the one I want to put together. But then I can kind of work on another with whatever bullshit calls you guys throw
Yeah.
out, and I can usually gets around to me fast enough that I can really focus on my
Yeah.
build. But with 5,
Right.
ugh.
Yeah, I mean, chances are someone's not going to call the same resource over and over because you
True.
are limited. So with more people, the more likely you are to get something that you want.
Right, and there's
with
only the 4 types.
Yeah, but I will say it's not impossible. So with the villagers, it's just like, oh, Cat calls brick, and I'm like, I really don't need that, so I'm gonna take this person. If I have the scrap card out, I'm just not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Or the one that we had, Forager, was awesome because it was like, okay, like I'm gonna spend him to quickly finish a building because I need brick, but I don't know if Cat is going to call that.
Yeah.
She might call glass, and I'm like, I don't know where to put that right now. So I'll quickly build it so I can place whatever you guys happen to call.
Gotcha.
And I will say that the new village or building types, I think, are innovative. Like, it's not just like the Folly Tower was a pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, everyone can. You're actually stacking on each other, but the one who has the tallest tower doesn't get any points. So it's kind
That's
of
the Folly Tower.
right, and so you kind of compete with one another, and always
Or a silent agreement there. Just like,
Right.
Yeah.
hey, you want to we'll keep with the tower.
Yeah.
We'll pay off, but this guy over here.
yeah, and it's like, oh, like
I mean, everyone can really realistically try to do it because at some point it's going to be beneficial to build some sort of Folly Tower with that combination.
yeah. I mean, I had my strategy, and the Folly Tower was not a part of it.
Probably a smart way to go.
But I will say that, like, the post office, this type, it's basically they all have their kind of theme about them. And the one that, like, this one, we had a blacksmith, and it was pretty much a similar thing. Was you just that was the implementation of mitigation of resources, so you can kind of control what's getting picked.
Yeah, with that, like, say if you built that and they certainly made. I mean, with yours and mine, it gave us quite a bit more mitigation. Our uniques.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I mean, hers was point focused,
Yeah.
but like ours was incredible mitigation.
Yeah, I just had a stack of all 5 resources, and I was like, okay, well, I can go from top to bottom. Yours just gave you a free one.
Yeah, I
when
mean,
you
mine
complete
made my
buildings.
build so much more rapid. Like, I was getting like twice the resource every time I build a house, and I built that. It was like my second building I put together, and then I was just pumping out
right
from there.
And that's our cue
Yeah.
with my dogs being hell demons.
Yeah, what the fuck are they doing?
Don't get dogs. They're not worth it.
They got the zoomies.
They certainly do. But I mean, other than that, that's villagers.
Yeah, there's
like
yeah.
if you like tiny towns for its simplicity, then I would say this, even with currency, these might not be your expansions, because if you want this for a gateway game, villagers and currency are not gateway expansions. They add more complexity than what they might be worth. I like the added complexity, and I will say that it adds just enough to where it's not like, what the hell's going on? It's literally place a resource in a spot with a worker, move him, unless you construct it, and then you have 2 abilities. So, but yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you guys give villagers?
I will give it a 7.
7?
Yeah.
Do you like it better than the currency?
Yes.
Yeah, I do too. I don't remember what I gave currency,
I can't remember that either. I never remember.
but it was enough that I'd rather play villagers over the currency one.
Yeah.
But because the currency, like it is, just gave you money, and you could spend money to do various
How much did the
different
expansion
actions.
cost?
It's a good question.
Like,
Like,
what they're
30,
adding.
$30.
$30?
Yeah. They kind of add. Let's see. I think I don't even remember.
The villager.
Oh, I
meeples.
picked it up off of actually at a local game store, so it's probably more than what it needed to be.
But you're supporting local business.
I know. I want them to die. Tiny Towns Villagers on Amazon is $30.
$30.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, Tiny Towns, I believe I score rather highly on our original
I think
review.
we gave it a 9.
Yeah, like it's a very good bite-sized game.
Yeah.
It's easy to bring to the table. Very simple. Anyone can pick it up. It's pleasant. Like, does this add like enough to it? I'm like, I mean, it felt like some bells and whistles.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give it like an incredible score. Like, it's nice. It's a nice addition, a little extra. But I felt like the game was very manageable on its own.
Yeah, pretty
So
much.
it's okay. I'm kind of like in a 6 and 7 range.
Yeah.
I want to say, like, because it's not bad.
You would almost pick it up just for the extra cards.
Yeah, that's
Like,
really
'cause
it.
These cards don't. I mean, some of them, like one of the buildings, I think it was a hearth. When you built it, you got to place a villager in a building. And so some of them do allow you to manage, like it actually brings in the workers, but some of them don't.
So about how many iterations of each building are there in the base game, would you say?
Oh, in the base game, I can actually tell you.
6, 4...
Oh, actually, that does sound about right. If I was looking at contents, there were 25 building cards. in the base game. So
Okay, between
with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 divided by 24 is
4.
4. Yeah.
Yeah. So about 4 each iteration. This added like what 2, 3 of each one.
This added 18.
It added
cards,
18.
so it added 3.
Okay.
So you probably have a total of like 10 each if you have both expansions. Or 12.
So yeah, I mean, if you like this game, I mean, it just adds more of the game you like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7. It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's not like ooh wow, it really changes the whole thing and it mind blowing, but I'll go 7.
Yeah.
It's good. It's fun. Pick
Yeah.
it up if you like it.
I'm kind of right there with you. I think I would give. I'm gonna agree with Kat though. I'm gonna give it for an expansion. I'm gonna give it an 8. But like you said, it's not enough. And currency is the same way. It's not enough to make Tiny Towns go from like a 9 to a 10 or
Right.
something. It doesn't. It's not game changing, but yeah, it is a solid expansion that it doesn't break anything. It does enhance it if you want more of Tiny Towns, but it's just like, okay, this is now a thing we can do. And so, but I will say the currency was still good, but it was kind of weird how complex it made it. But this is not as complex as currency was. So, yeah, so that's our thoughts on Tiny Towns Villagers. Let us know what you think of the expansion in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.